Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our January 4th work session. I'd also like to welcome the individuals at home that are watching. Before we get started, should an emergency arise during the meeting, there is an emergency exit out the door to your right and down the stairs. There's also, if that is blocked, there's also one to the left and down the stairs. Please do not use the elevators. With that, we'll get underway. Ms. Glanz, you're up first, or Mr. Stevenson?
Yes. Where would you like me to present from?
You can
There.
go right from the podium.
Good evening. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And speaking of New Year's, the first item is a donation from the Arthur W. Purdue Foundation. They were generous enough to offer us $2,500 for our New Year's Eve celebration that we had this past weekend. Hopefully you all, or if you attended, you had a good time. If not, you had fun doing other things. But so that is the first piece of business to help with cost of the event. Party favors the band, portable restrooms, staff, and support. So if you have any questions.
Questions from the council?
Very appreciative of the donations.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a fantastic time.
It was a good, the hot dogs were really good.
They seem to be the busiest food truck.
I didn't get to go, but I saw that there was a nice turnout and everybody had a very lovely time, so.
I heard the burgers were really good too, right? Isn't that what it was? Burger.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you all had a great time, and you know, but some of us were homesick.
Okay. Is there consensus then to move that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And thank you to Purdue Foundation.
And you're still up.
I'm still up, round
I
two.
think maybe for this one, would you like to come up?
Sure.
And the other participants come up. Reverend Hutchison, Nicole, how are you?
Hello.
Very good, thank you.
So this next item is a community garden in the Newtown lot. We're still debating the name of the community garden, but behind the Chipman Cultural Center. And we have had great success with the community garden in Camden, thanks to Green SBY and Martin and many other players. And that momentum is moving with St. Francis of Sales. Nicole Long is here with us. So if you just want to sort of describe what your plan is there.
Okay.
Start there.
So based on Martin's model, we're going to transfer a lot of the ideas that he used there to the space behind the Chipman Center. And it would be a raised bed garden as well. And my vision is to incorporate a little bit of the arts in it as well. I hope that we'll be able to build a relationship with the Chipman Foundation and do some programming around that, as well as the churches who are right there nearby, and individuals in those neighborhoods to take ownership, basically, and make an investment in their neighborhood for a good cause. And to be a resource, there is a little bit of a food desert down at that end, so it'd be real nice to be able to offer some healthy food to residents in that area.
The size is approximately the same as the community.
Larger.
It's a larger lot. I don't know how we have, there's a plateau there that we think we'll put the raised beds on, but currently it has an easement issue with the Maryland Historical Trust that we're working on. We don't think it's going to be an issue because we're not doing anything to disturb the ground. We're going on top, but it could be bigger than the Camden, but it could be the same size or could be a little smaller, depending on how things go with fundraising and all of that. But there's certainly plenty of land.
So you can see one of your attachments is a public works map, and I sort of drew out in permanent marker what we would be leasing to them. We're not going to lease the whole lot because they don't need it right now, but if they grow, then maybe we'll do that. But we'll ask Mark to incorporate that language into the lease when it's ready.
Is the cross-hatched area, is that the easement?
That is the easement, that
That's the oddest shaped
triangle,
easement I've ever seen.
arrow,
It's
whatever
like they
it is.
cut an arrow in half and stuck it on this.
Do we know what the easement was originally for?
I don't.
It's,
We have-
we've gotten a copy of it off the internet. It's basically so that the state will have some degree of control as a historical trust area. And we're supposed to get the permission of the director before we construct anything or do anything. So obviously, I mean, I can't imagine that they would object to a garden unless we made some very modern looking structure out there or something.
Yeah, do they define construct? Because this is not a structure that we're building, it's not a permanent
It's not
structure,
defined,
so.
it's not defined in there. So it basically, it says even alteration construction. They basically want you to leave it as is without their permission.
The shape of it is just,
It's all-
looks like an arrow that
Cut in
failed to
half.
hit or something, I'm not sure.
I think that strikes it.
Yeah, so they meet rather frequently, so we have to get our paperwork in by January 19th, and then they meet, I think, a week later. And so hopefully we'll hear something back relatively soon after that. So,
Which the timing is all good for garden work.
Questions?
That was it for that one, I think.
Questions?
Oh, yes, there was one, and I think this is the same in your lease, but I just want to make sure that in 2L, it says to have all the things they're agreeing to abide by, have all facade signs, et cetera, approved by the Department of Building, Permitting, and Inspections. This is in a historic district as well.
It'll have to be approved.
But before BPI would approve it, it would have to go through
Correct.
a historic district.
Correct.
So we don't need to specifically say that. But I wanted to make sure that, you know,
We're-
that understanding was there, that this is a historic
Correct.
district.
We're aware of that, and that, you're right, that is a prior process to the building and permit approval. Mayor Day has asked that we would try to brand the signage to make it look the same as the Camden. As we think about a network of community gardens, St. Francis is open to that, and we're working on that. So it should be a relatively easy thing because the historical district had to approve the Camden signage as well. So,
Right.
you know,
And
it
it
should
would
be
be
just a
identical,
duplicate of
so.
that, the name would be changed.
Perfect.
And it will have the library type thing.
I was going to ask
there.
about that.
Free
Because
library.
because
That's a draw.
that has really gone over well.
Yes.
It's great.
Yes. And come out and help us build it.
Sounds like a scout project.
There you go.
Yeah.
We have scouts in the
Eagle Scout.
audience.
All right, we have one request for comment. Mrs. Shields, want to come up and?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As I said, I'd be behind this side of the table. I'm keeping my promise. I do support the community garden. One point I want to make, people in the neighborhood who have children do use that playground for birthday parties and family gatherings. So consider that when you talk about where you're going to place the beds where we're going. And also, making a matter of record, I've talked to Ms. Long, and I thought that to recognize our history, our past, that I think the garden should be called Georgetown Community Garden, because the neighborhood was Georgetown before it became Newtown in the 70s, I believe, and that would recognize that history as part of that. Since Chipman is part of history, I thought Georgetown would be nice, and we discussed Georgetown Community Garden. So that's what I want to make a matter of request. And I also told Ms. Long, since I have a lot of time on my hand, I wouldn't mind helping with the garden or whatever other support the committee needs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we respond to that?
Certainly.
We've talked
Go
about
right
this, and we're very open to that, Shaney. But we would like to suggest the Georgetown - Newtown Community Garden. Recognize both.
The growth.
Does that work? Georgetown be first, since it was first?
Well, then people would know where it is, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the Georgetown, then, to me, it feels like you have to go to Delaware.
Right.
And so we want to. You're not from here, though. I know, I'm from
She worked that in. You're a
I'm from here, and it was the same way for me. I thought the same thing.
But you know what it used to be called too? Cuba. See, so it's a lot of names it was given.
Well, Cuba's shorter.
Yeah.
Okay. No other questions? It's great. It's exciting because it's the second of many, hopefully, we can place.
On behalf of Green SBY, who I'm representing, and Heather Martin and Casey Martin are here supporting us, we have a desire to see a network of these pop up in Salisbury. And, I've talked to you, Jack, about that, and talked to the mayor. We're interested in seeing that happen as we see it as a revitalization of neighborhoods tool. It's definitely happening in Camden, and we hope it'll happen over here, and we'd love to see it happen in other areas. I drove by Doverdale Playground, and it's not, it doesn't have any room.
Yeah.
I
We'll
went
find
by
a
there
spot.
today, but that would be another good neighborhood for one.
We'll find spots for sure.
There's a couple of lots over there.
Good, thank you very much. Thanks for
Thank you.
thanks for all you do. We appreciate it very much.
Maybe we should number the signs so that we can do a map of all of them when we're done.
And Waterside Park has a field.
The mayor has already asked where it's at, and
Waterside Park, it's owned by the city, it has a field too,
okay,
yeah.
I'm not sure where that is.
That's on Fitzwater, Parsons Road. Yeah, yeah, right across from Cato Oil,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. That's a great, great location.
yeah.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I will.
At this time, Chief, you're up.
Just in time.
So consensus to move forward?
Yes.
Yes. I do. You have consensus to move the garden forward? Yes. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, I come before you here today to discuss first, budget amendment, in order to purchase a replacement vehicle for the vehicle which we lost in a collision, in a crash. Specifically, the car that we're talking about is a marked unit, unit 1477. It was a 2014 Chevy Caprice and was involved in a motor vehicle collision back in June of 2015. We are requesting that the insurance adjustment totaling $27,123 be transferred to the SPD Services Vehicle account, which we will use to purchase a new vehicle and related equipment. The value, fully equipped, was approximately $45,000. However, the vehicle itself was totaled, including the equipment.
Yeah, my recollection is that the computer, all of that
Yes,
was
sir. All
not
of it.
usable.
That's correct.
Okay.
That was the number that I came up with from the budget last year, was 45,000, so, and that was less than, we requested 5 vehicles initially, but the budget, the final number in that line was less than, I think, what you had asked for those 5 vehicles. Do you have the money to make up the difference? Or is that going to sit there and not have enough to purchase a replacement for that vehicle? That was one of the newer ones.
Right, and I believe that they, with the transferring of this money, that we will have the money, once this insurance money gets transferred into the account, I believe that we will have enough to purchase a replacement vehicle.
Okay, it's close to 18,000. I was concerned that if we're putting money in there and there isn't the other 18,000 to make up the difference to get a new vehicle, then what? Do we make up the difference, or do we, if you didn't have it, or do we just not transfer it because it's going to roll back anyway?
Right, and I will definitely have that information for you if this gets moved to the next phase for the reading.
Mr. Stevens, have you?
In my conversation with the Colonel Chief, and perhaps you didn't talk with him about this, I was of the impression you did have the funding available.
I'm sorry?
I was of the impression you did have the funding
We
available.
are, but I will confirm it.
Okay. All right.
That was my question.
Any other questions from council? Okay, we have consensus to move this forward.
Yes.
Mr. Ireton?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And these,
The new officer.
yes, the second item I come before you to discuss is the acceptance of $5,000 from the joint task force, which we are a part of, the Wycomico County Narcotics Task Force. This is funds from their Seize Fund line, which we also, by virtue of participating in this task force, contribute to. And we would like to use this money to purchase a new canine, specifically a narcotics canine. And that would be our second narcotics canine that we would be obtaining.
Okay, so this is an addition, not a replacement. Didn't we already have two? Well, it is kind of a replacement, right?
Well, one is a patrol canine, that would be Miso, and then the second dog that we purchased was a narcotics dog, that's Hank. And Hank has been fairly productive for us during the year, during 2015, and we hope to replicate those results with another narcotics dog.
Is there a different set of training
Yes, very
between
much
a
so.
patrol dog and a narcotics dog?
Very
Is that coming up in the zoo master plan?
No, sir, it is not.
It's a different part of the building? Is that what we're doing here?
Teach them those skills at the zoo.
Okay, thank you. I think I had further questions, but I don't know what they are.
$5,000, what's the total cost of the new canine though?
Well, it
It's like
depends.
10, 12, and
It depends. It depends on the type of dog. And it could be anywhere from a total of 8 to 12, you know, depending on the actual canine that we end up locating and deciding on. So then, yes, we would have to make up the funds. We'd have to make up the differences for that purchase as well.
So that means we'll have two for,
two narcotics.
That's
on
correct.
patrol.
and what would be the need for two?
I'm sorry?
What would be the need for two?
So, I'm glad you asked. We constantly get calls for scans, whether they're here in the city or we work with other agencies in the area as well. The two canines that we have right now are assigned to patrol work, and they are assigned to different squads, but that doesn't provide for 24-hour coverage. We also work with county, and I know Fruitland has one as well, and if we're not available or do not have a canine available for even our own officers to conduct a scan, then we'll call in. And so there is constant call for that. Just to give you an example, we had 66 vehicle scans here in the city. We did 40 for other agencies. We've been able to take in at least one gun as a result of that, and make at least one arrest of a suspect, which was located on a track, along with locating other pieces of evidence along a flight path. It's been very, very beneficial for us and our surrounding agencies, but simply don't have enough, even though the call is there. The goal eventually is to have a canine available for these types of searches, whether it be a narcotic search or a search and rescue search, 24/7. And no one in this area seems to have that capacity right now.
No, I don't think so.
No, something,
Why are you saying yes?
somebody is.
Automatic.
It's,
So how would the difference be made up? Is there money in the canine line from last year, or I mean, from this year still, that would be added to this?
Yes, there
Or
is.
would this wait
Yep.
till next year?
No. As a matter of fact, this is this year's allotment from task force for this year.
Thomas, fire or turned off, you know, that might be the problem one time it was.
So there is. And
Bizarre.
this is the one, this is where the officer goes and trains with them. And
That's part of the pricing, yes.
inclusive.
When funds like this come to us from the task force, are they restricted specifically for what's requested and mentioned?
Yes. In fact,
So,
the money doesn't actually come to the city. It stays with the county task force, and then goes directly to the
So they
vendor.
distribute?
Yes,
Okay. But it is restricted?
yes, specifically labeled as such.
So, if the canine that we have now, I'm wondering if I recognize anything that comes into task force work is going to stay with the task force till we get it back. But there are instances where the canine, trying to make the connection between this canine dog and the next canine narcotics dog, if what the canine narcotics dog is doing is putting things over in Wintip that we're just asking them back for so that we can get the new one, if that is an easier way to say what we're saying, would that be correct?
We
You
use
could-
the dog to seize to
Yeah,
find
if
the
the dog
drugs, to
is
seize
seizing
the
stuff, is it
money,
in-
to get the money to buy
Well,
more dogs.
not necessarily, not
what he's
everything,
asking.
not everything that this dog
And I
does.
only say this not because there's a dog in the room, which I wasn't sure you knew about, so I was trying to it would be interesting for me to see what, it's not me doing that, I promise you. It would be very interesting for me to see just how much, I know you can't say revenue, but how much work or how many arrests or what the decrease in crime is. We've lived through horses here in town. We've lived through one set of dogs before. Now this set of dogs, we've lived through the task force, some of us long enough to remember way back with the task force. So I'm trying to get a sense of what the animal that we have that's the narcotics dog does for us. And if we can link that to the buying of the new dog, then I think that's a good idea. But that's only if there's enough work. I recognize you said that there were other calls. What is that producing? Because not every time you get a call for a dog produces, 16 kilos in the back of the
Hank's
trunk.
a busy dog. He's worked. So there's only so much work
True.
that he can do. And just like any officer, he has to have his time off. You don't want to overwork him. But he's a good dog. But he does need another partner that can carry the load. It's
For
too much for
instance-
one dog.
And for instance, too, if that dog is on call and you have another call for drugs, then there's possibility for the name.
They're limited in
And
how long
hopefully
they
the
can hold
scheduling is
someone.
done where you want maybe on the busy days, Fridays and Saturdays, some overlap between both of them, and then the slower days, but sometimes is there ever a slow day?
You can't schedule
No, but
But the coverage.
You can look at the past of the calls, and most of
First
them are all
quote of
Thursday and Friday.
2016, you can't schedule
Well,
a drug
you can,
bus.
but I'm just saying.
If we had really good
Yeah, I mean-
newspapers, there'd be
you
a list
can,
of
but-
these throughout the week, and you'd be on it now.
We're getting into
You
minority.
can't schedule a drug
Yeah,
bus.
well, you can, but I'm just saying, what if you have more than one that
True.
you want to do in a day? And your dog is being preoccupied, so you wanna,
Now, Jim, I'm not sure if this is what you're asking, but it's got me thinking in this way. It may be the same question in a different way. Are we getting back out of it with these $5,000 donations for the dog? Equal proportion of what the energy and time and money that we're putting into the task force.
Yes, absolutely we are, and I think that was your question as well. And I can tell you that yes, because we are ridding our streets of some major traffickers, and that decreases the amount of the illegal and very dangerous substances that are out there and available for purchase and distribution. So I can tell you, yes, absolutely. It's well worth being. We certainly, Salisbury could not by itself sustain a narcotics work group. We have to be part of a team. In fact, this whole region benefits from this team that we are a part of. And it's the same thing with the gang task force and the marshals, high-risk warrant service. It's the same philosophy.
Are the state police involved in that again, or still, or did we, I know at one point they were backing up and then backing out of the task force operations and then, but not here, and then yes and no. I don't know whether they're in or out. Someone asked me and I said, I don't know.
Yes, they're in.
They're in, okay.
Any other questions? Consensus to move forward?
Yes,
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
thank you. Do we have a name yet?
No, we don't have
Speaking of
any.
babies, I was just curious.
That Hank, next one's Bubba, is that?
I like that.
William.
Okay, moving right along.
That we go.
I would invite Ralph and Mr. Sieg to come up and for our presentation of the Zoo Master Plan.
You need to connect your laptop.
Let's start with the intro.
Would you like this up here or?
Yeah, I think it would be
Better.
better up here.
Like that, we'd like to plug into.
Okay, yeah. Good, that's easier to see up there.
Let me look at it on my phone.
Cover, Amir, cover.
Copies gonna have.
I was holding the microphone and covering it too.
Not with your hands.
Next, I was gonna stick my head under the.
Feel free.
I don't need one. Plastic bag here. You can get this from going. Yeah, save the paper. No sharing.
Thanks, sir.
They're being mean.
That's a bigger version.
They're being real mean to you.
We just don't want to be sick.
Oh, this is easier to read. I can see
Hey.
it already.
What color from
I
Sam's?
definitely
Very nice.
want to be,
Thank
because
you.
I have respiratory problems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is pillow salt.
Yeah, he's. Maybe in that audio budget, we have to update our adapters.
Yeah.
They loved it. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Should we check with Bill? Bill's out. Mike's gone.
You have it on flash stick, we're gonna put it on our laptop?
You have a flash
We can't
drive?
connect.
What's that?
You have a flash drive?
Yeah. You got a modern connector.
Okay, grab it.
That cable was installed in 1997. 18.
Stand by for technical.
Please bear with us. We need an adapter. Ron, do you have an adapter?
Put that on a list of things for Bill to do.
list?
Yeah, the list of things for Bill to do when he gets back.
There you go.
I got one.
Oh,
Look at that.
sorry.
So you come back with an adapter? Or will you? I'm impressed too.
Or just use
Can
laptop?
Can we use yours?
A laptop?
Computer can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
You take the Home Shopping Network.
Candy Crush, whatever it was.
Whatever.
Master plan draft.
My grandson.
Stop.